Some athletes become champions. A rare few become legends. And then there's Jon Jones.
He is the present and he is the future.
A fighter so dominant, so gifted, that he didn't just rise to the top, he changed the very nature of the sport.
Roman skills like, sitting back.
But with unmatched talent came a trail of destruction, legal battles, drug suspensions, public downfalls. His story isn't just about winning gold, it's about losing everything and fighting to reclaim it. This is the rise and fall of Jon "Bones" Jones, a legacy built on brilliance and broken by chaos.
Jon Jones has been arrested in Las Vegas.
Star fighter Jon "Bones" Jones.
Jon Jones.
The 34-year-old has been charged with misdemeanor battery, domestic violence, and damage.
In 2008, Jon Jones stepped into the UFC with less than a month's preparation. At just 21 years old, he was a replacement fighter, an unknown name thrown into the deep end. But when the octagon doors closed, people saw something different. This wasn't your average up-and-comer.
Most of it on. Beautiful lateral drop right there. Very nice.
He was long, lanky, unpredictable, a human Rubik's Cube inside the cage. Within a few short fights, the hype was real.
This is a terrible spot. Terrible spot. Herb Dean right on top.
He dominated veteran Stephan Bonner with spinning elbows and innovative clinch work. He tossed Matt Hamill around like a rag doll, only to lose by disqualification due to illegal downward elbows. A loss on paper, but a statement to the fans. This kid was dangerous.
Jones likes the throws. Nice trip. There's some Greco. Deep trouble. Big elbows from Johnny Bones Jones.
Then came UFC 128, a title shot against Mauricio Shogun Rua, a hardened Pride legend and reigning champ. Jon Jones didn't just beat Shogun, he dismantled him. He broke the man's will. At 23 years old, he became the youngest UFC champion in history, and it didn't stop there. Over the next 4 years, Jones took out a who's who of MMA legends. Rampage Jackson, submitted. Lyoto Machida, choked unconscious, left hanging like a ghost against the cage. Rashad Evans, outclassed in a high-stakes grudge match. Vitor Belfort nearly snapped his arm, but Jones refused to tap. Then came the elbow barrage that ended it. Jones didn't just defend his title. He redefined how a light heavyweight could fight. Long-range striking, unpredictable movement, brutal ground and pound, and elite fight IQ. He was the total package, and no one could touch him. But even kings have rivals, and Jon Jones had two that shaped his legacy more than any others. The first, Alexander Gustafsson, UFC 165, Toronto. Jones was a heavy favorite. Gustafsson, a tall, technical striker from Sweden, was supposed to be just another name on the list. But from the opening bell, Gustafsson shocked the world. He outboxed Jones, cut him, took him down, something no one had done before. For 5 rounds, they went to war, back and forth, blood, sweat, heart. Jones dug deep in the championship rounds, landing a spinning elbow that changed the tide.
And there's a nasty elbow by Jon.
When it was over, he kept his belt. Barely. The fight became an instant classic, and it proved one thing. Jon Jones had heart. He could survive the storm. The second rivalry, much more personal. Daniel Cormier. Cormier was an Olympian, undefeated, respected, and he hated everything Jones represented. Their rivalry spilled into chaos. Fistfights at pressers, mic battles full of venom. They weren't just trying to win, they wanted to destroy each other. UFC 182, 5 rounds. Cormier pushed Jones like never before, but Jones remained composed, tactical, sharp. He outworked DC, wrestled him, outboxed him, and when the dust settled, he raised his hand in victory. But controversy followed. Jones tested positive for cocaine metabolites. Though the fight results stood, Their rematch at UFC 214 was explosive. Jones landed a devastating head kick in round 3, dropping DC and finishing the fight. Days later, the test results came in. Banned substances in his system. Another title stripped, another legacy moment tainted.
Jones trying to press the issue here. Trying to survive.
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Outside the cage, Jon Jones's life was spiraling. In 2015, he was involved in a hit-and-run incident. He fled the scene, leaving behind a pregnant woman with a broken arm.
Albuquerque police are still looking for UFC champ Jon Bones Jones for a hit-and-run crash that happened yesterday.
Kind of freaked out, and I was just more upset, that he couldn't at least stayed and at least said, "I'm sorry" or something.
The UFC stripped him of his belt. He was suspended indefinitely. The youngest champ in history was now a cautionary tale. And then came the string of failed drug tests: turinabol, clomiphene, letrozole, PEDs, masking agents. Every failed test cost him more than just fights. It cost him his reputation. Sponsors vanished. Media scrutiny intensified. Fans turned skeptical. Even his most loyal supporters began asking, how much of it was real? How much of it was chemistry? And how much was talent? He blamed tainted supplements. He hired lawyers. He gave emotional interviews. But the pattern kept repeating. In 2016, Jones was pulled from UFC 200 just 3 days before the event. Another failed test. In 2017, after knocking out Cormier, he delivered a heartfelt post-fight speech, only to fail yet another test weeks later. That win was overturned, his belt gone. Again. The fight world was exhausted. His legacy was in question. Was this the end? But Jon Jones wasn't done. After a 15-month suspension, he returned at UFC 232 to face Alexander Gustafsson once again. This time, it wasn't close. Jones was sharper, smarter, more measured. He took Gustafsson down and finished him in the third. With that win, he reclaimed the vacant light heavyweight belt. He defended it multiple times against Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes, but something felt different. The dominance was there, but the danger was back. Close fights, decisions that sparked debate. His bout with Reyes was razor thin. Some say Reyes won, others say Jones edged it. After that, Jones vacated the belt and disappeared. For 3 years, no fights, no press, just training and whispers. Jon Jones was moving to heavyweight. Then in 2023, the comeback was official. UFC 285, Jones versus Cyril Gane for the vacant heavyweight title. The doubters were loud. He's been gone too long. He's too small for heavyweight. He's not focused. But Jon Jones silenced them all. In just 2 minutes, he took Gane down, controlled him, choked him. A flawless guillotine finish in the first round. The message was clear. He was back, and he was the champion of 2 divisions. A fighter once stripped 3 times, now had a belt no one could take. And then came the Legends Challenge. November 2024, UFC 309, Madison Square Garden, Jon Jones versus Steve Miocic, the most successful heavyweight in UFC history. It was legacy versus legacy, GOAT versus GOAT. The fight began slowly, tactical, respectful. But as rounds passed, Jones's rhythm sharpened. His striking was precise, his wrestling relentless. Then in round 3, it happened. A spinning back kick to the liver. Miocic crumpled. Jones didn't just retain his title, he closed the book on another legend. And as Miocic announced his retirement, Jones stood tall, not just as a champion, but as a symbol of survival. Today, Jon Jones stands at a crossroads. He's hinted at retirement, but nothing's certain. Talks of a super fight with interim champ Tom Aspinall are heating up. A potential unification bout, a passing of the torch, or a final stamp on an unmatched legacy. But the bigger question lingers. How will history remember Jon Jones? As the most complete fighter the sport has ever seen? As the youngest champ, the master tactician, the comeback king? Or as the talent who couldn't get out of his own way? Maybe he's all of it. Maybe greatness isn't clean. Maybe it's chaotic. Maybe the most fascinating stories are the ones that balance brilliance and brokenness. Jon Jones is a mirror, reflecting the heights of human potential and the lows that can come with it. A warrior, a genius, a flawed champion. And maybe that's what makes his legacy so compelling. From dominance to disgrace to redemption, the rise and fall of Jon Jones is still being written. And as the world watches, we ask, will he rise once more or fade into legend? What's your verdict? Is Jon Jones the GOAT or the greatest cautionary tale in UFC history? Let us know in the comments. And if you love fight facts, drama, and deep dives into the lives behind the gloves, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us for the next round. Beyond the Fist.